Welcome back to your program, The Open Dialogue, where we are discussing the topic of abortion. We're trying to understand the faith point of view and the humanitarian aspect of abortion. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome back to your show, The Open Dialogue, where we are discussing the topic of abortion with Father Nadeem Nasar and Maulana Syed Hujjatul Islam al Muslimin Mohammad Razavi. Sayyid Muhammad, what is the Islamic point of view when it comes to the debate of pro-life and pro-choice? How should people be reconciling between both sides of the argument?
As I explained earlier, that from Islamic point of view, abortion is not permissible. But as we have a saying in Arabic, there is not a single general rule in the world which doesn't have exceptions. So all the rulings, even the rulings from God, have exceptions. So this is where the scholars and the society and the circumstances and everything comes in and helps you to make the right decision. Of course, when you discuss about abortion, also the discussion is there about the blood money. But as I mentioned earlier, blood money does not give you the freedom ticket to abort the child. The sin is sin and will remain sin, and it is not permissible. And if it is done with the agreement of the surgeon, father and mother, then the authorities of the society, which according to Islamic Sharia are the Maraj Taqlid or Baytul Mal, the treasury, will inherit the blood money. And if everybody is involved, then just nobody inherits the blood money. If the father agrees, then he doesn't inherit. If the mother agrees, then she doesn't inherit. So these are all secondary issues that come in to discussion later on. But as far as life is concerned, of course, I would say that not only Islam, all divine faiths in the world are pro-life. But then the secondary issues come in later on.
But at what point is the fetus considered as life? Is it once the heartbeat sets in? Is it not part of the woman's body before that? Before a certain stage?
As far as being part of woman's body, it is from the day one. It's part of the woman's body there. But there are differences of opinion. Some say that ruh enters the body after 4th month. Others say that it doesn't matter whether ruh enters or not. It's a living being before, even as soon as the sperm joins the egg and it sticks into the womb lining, that is not allowed to be aborted. Although before that, precautionary steps could be taken, and Ulema have given permission for the like contraceptions and pills and according to some faith, I don't know whether in Christianity that is allowed or not, or wearing condoms or other preventions are permissible. And according to some scholars, even the next day pill is permissible. But after that, they don't allow this.
It's interesting you say this because abortion rates for women under 18, as per government statistics, show that they are decreasing compared to 2019, whereas the abortion rates for women over 35 are increasing. Why do you think is that, Father Nadeem? Is it and that to the possible solutions as well? Is there better education and better awareness campaigns running at the moment that the abortion rates for women under 18 is decreasing, but for women over 35 it's increasing?
Well, we need to emphasize the role of education. That is no question about it. Awareness, education, trying to bring science and faith together, because a lot of people think that faith and science are in battle. They are in war. For me, they can't be more in harmony, and more beautiful harmony between the two. So we need to listen to science, and we need to listen to God. So, and that happens only through education, not only in school, but also at home, also in the mosque or in the church or in social community clubs or activities, or all kinds of education in the media. And this is now available, Zainab. It's not that we are talking about something like 30 or 40 years ago. But in this country or in the West, we have, of course, the problem is with a lot of abortion comes with other problems like alcohol. So when women drink and lose their control, they are more vulnerable to pregnancy, much more than from when they don't lose their control through alcohol or drugs or whatever. So we have to link all those problems and create a holistic education that protect women and give them the responsibility, Zainab. This is the problem. We need to give the women the responsibility to take decisions, to make choices. Unfortunately, in the East, a lot of women don't have these choices, and their responsibilities are always under the pressure of the man's will and the man's opinion and the man's decision. But we need to lift that and let women decide for themselves and face the responsibility in life without overshadowing them with our masculinity, and we pretend we know the best. No, we don't. Sorry, we don't. As men, we need to be educated about women. We need to raise our awareness. We need to face our conscience. But in the East, let's admit it, we still have this problem. And all the immigrants from the East to the West, they bring this complex with them to the West. And we need to face that.
Said Mohammad, let's face it, the abortion rates in the Muslims as well are increasing. What can be done to help this? And I suppose there is a culture of silence and a culture of hiding and shaming and a culture of guilt. How can we help raise awareness, and what can be done to help within our cultural settings as well?
Well, I mean, the ulama and the scholars can play an important role, and especially if you're living in a Muslim country, the authorities and schools also can play a very important role in educating the children. As you mentioned about the report, that the abortion rate is less in the younger generation, maybe they are more aware of it. But this does not mean that we go beyond the limit in sex education. That's another subject that we can discuss. What are the limits in sex education? What should be taught and what should not be taught? That's another subject to discuss. But one of the benefits, and Islam is not against that, because according to Islamic teachings, a girl from 9 years of age onward should know issues about her body. I mean, because she may start having her periods and all of these things. And a boy after 14 years of age has to know the issues of an adult man, because he may end up making someone pregnant, and so he has to be educated and taught what is halal and what is not halal, what is haram and what is forbidden. So these rules and things are okay to be taught, and inshallah we will have another program on sex education and what are the limits from Islamic point of view, and or maybe from the divine faith's point of view as well. And we will discuss it. But definitely, education can reduce unnecessary pregnancies, can reduce the number of abortions, and the reason abortion rate is high in even Muslim countries is because of lack of education. I was watching a clip from Egypt. Some youngsters were being interviewed on the streets of Cairo, and they were being asked to give the names of the prophets. Those teenagers who are being brought up in Muslim countries, they didn't even know anything about Islam. They just call themselves Muslims as in by name. And same thing happens in the Christianity. I mean, I've met many Christians. When you ask them, "Are you Christian?" They say, "Yeah, I'm a member of Church of England." But if you ask them rules and regulations and what, they don't even know what it is. They suddenly remember to be Christian when they want to go to church or when somebody dies. At any other time, they don't know what is their faith. So, unfortunately, this is the problem that, or we could say, Westernization is happening in West and the non-Western countries as well.
So, since both of you agree that the solution to these rising issues and these debates is better education and better awareness campaigns, Father Nadeem, I would like to make the final closing remark, and if you have any conclusions or any other guidelines for the viewers in regards to, I suppose we haven't talked about God. So some people would be fearful of having this child, having this fetus. When we talked about the problems that might cause a woman to go towards abortion, the financial means would be an issue, and other barriers and other problems could be a problem. So, what does God, having faith in God's generosity and God as the provider, what can you tell those women who are afraid? Because have you met anybody in your line of work who has regretted keeping a child, has regretted not aborting?
Well, we are all created on God's image. We agree on that. And in my many decades, I'm not telling you my age, of ministry, I haven't heard any woman, any single woman who said, "I did not abort and I regretted it. I wish I aborted the child." I have not come across any of that, but I met a lot of women on the other side who kept the child and said, "I'm so glad I did." So God gives us the generosity, the mercy, the care to exercise with each other. In Christianity, we believe in the incarnation, God becoming human being, so that we learn how to respect our humanity, because God touched our humanity according to the Christian faith. So what more that would encourage us or motivate us to respect our humanity? And I would like to say we need to respect women more. We need to respect her choices, her opinions. Allow me, Zainab, with all respect, I would have preferred one of us would be a woman to speak and to say what she would think about this topic. As you see, two males talking about issues that women should be part of it. And I said from the beginning that we need education as much as women need education. But at the same time, we need to include women in the discussion, in the dialogue. You should not be presenting. You should be a guest with us, and somebody else would be presenting. And I'm giving that an example to tell you that we need to lift the dignity of women more in our Eastern cultures and mentality. And because of that, I would say God has given us every opportunity to respond to his generosity, to respond to his hospitality, to respond to his mercy and love, and exercise that among each other.
Thank you very much.
This reminds me, I finished, a couple came to me once, and the husband was saying that doctors have said the child will be born with abnormalities, and it will cause so much stress and problem and psychological issues and this and that. And the mother said, "It's my body. I have a child. I'm ready to bring the child up as it is. So I should be given the choice not to abort the child." And her father was insisting to abort the child. I said, "Well, Islam says you should not." And I advised them to go and pray and connect with God and make promises to God and do lots of these traditional prayers and du'as. And they went and they conceived, they delivered the child. And after a few months, they came back to me and said, "Maulana, do you see any disability or problem with this child?" I said, "No." So thank God we didn't listen to the doctors and aborted the child. And we trusted God and prayed, and our prayers worked, and the child, and even the doctors were surprised that they were 100% sure that this child will be born with Down syndrome and so much difficulties and problems, and it has no sign of it at all. So
And also,
this is another
if we
example we should not
those children, we would not have many geniuses in the history of art, of science. We have a lot of geniuses that we would have not had them, including Beethoven.
Yeah, Beethoven.
Finally, I would like you to make a closing remark, closing conclusion, Father Nadeem. Any advice to the viewers who are experiencing difficulties and who are in a situation where they're finding themselves having to choose between an abortion or not an abortion? What would you like to advise them, or their families for that matter?
I would advise them to think deeply and pray about it, and think about the reasons, pro and against, and see if the reasons could be dealt with. Go to people who could help you. Don't think alone. Share your thoughts, your concerns, your fears. It's very serious decision. So share it with people that you trust, people that you think they can help you to discuss, and don't haste. In 1 or 2 days you want to take a decision, but at the same time, let the decision emerge out of a lot of consideration, a lot of respect to God's gift to you and to God's gift of love between you both, and whatever happens, and then take a decision.
This is such an important advice to open up and to discuss the matter, especially in a culture where, in our Eastern culture, as you said, where everything is just hidden under the carpet and not talked about. And so it's a very important advice to open up and to speak about it and speak to the right people before you make any kind of decision. What about you, Syed Mohammad? I mean, in the Quran, the scriptures have ayahs such as وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ خَشْيَةَ إِمْلَاقٍ وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. What would you like to tell the viewers regarding, the generosity of God and regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the Raziq and the Khaliq and the power of prayers and the power of turning back to Him?
Yeah,
in
a
these
message from Quran is very clear. Don't kill your child because of the providence. The provider is God. But God has not guaranteed the upbringing of the child. Upbringing is the responsibility of the parents. And there is a narration that a child is born with the nature of surrendering to the will of God. It's the parents who make them Muslim, Christian, or Jew. The nature of the child is submission to the will of God. So it changes later on. So we have to submit to the will of God, and we have to educate our children so they can understand better. As according to some statistics, some younger generation are better educated than some older generation in this matter. And Alhamdulillah, the healthier children are being born, although the society is not perfect. We have lots of other problems in our society, genetically engineering material and food and pollution and this, and the wars are causing so much problems in the health of human being. We have to deal with that as well to have a healthy society. Inshallah, with the return of Jesus Christ and Imam Mahdi, that will be changed.
Inshallah. Well, thank you very much for joining us for today's discussion, Father Nadeem Nasser. My special thanks to you and to you, Sayyid Muhammad. Dear viewers,